Yes.
Are you able to record now?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. So I assume that I have audience now, and I'm going to address a lot of audience, right? That's the way it's going to be presented now, not just you and me. Okay. So only one challenge we are going to face when you have started recording. Okay. The one challenge that you and I are going to face today is that it's not going to be much of interaction, because usually my programs are usually very interactive. Today the interactions are going to be much less because we don't have much audience. Okay. So good evening, everybody. Good evening. So now we are here to do something very interesting. Thanks to Corona, and even before Corona, most of the SMEs have been having challenges, like in terms of cash flow, in terms of business, in terms of liabilities, in terms of debt. And Corona has worsened the situation. So we are all here to have an understanding of what is debt, how it is handled, and how to turn around from debt to profits. So that's what it's all about. Burn your debt and how to build a debt-free business. That's what we are going to see now. Okay, so I am going to be your host for the next 1.5 hours. I'm a business coach specializing in debt management, resolution, and growth. And I'm a consultant, trainer, and blogger and author too. A few more words about me, because now it's important for you to know who I am, so that it makes you more interesting to listen to me. I've got about 40 plus years of experience, out of which about 10 years has been in corporate, and 31 years as a business owner. I have had a lot of businesses under my belt, and in fact, the first business which I started is still running. 30 plus years, a business is surviving, which is a rare phenomenon today. And even today, I'm a business owner. I'm a partner in a software company. It's a telecom software company called Backsoftec. And I'm the principal consultant of Mark Consulting, which is my passion and which is also one of my professions. And I'm also the co-founder and chief mentor of Indian New Business Guru. Incidentally, Indian New Business Guru was founded by my mentee, and he was very particular that I should be a chief mentor, so I joined on board. And I'm a mentor, blogger, author of, of course, already 3 books are on the line pipeline. 1 book is completed, 2 other books are going on. And I'm a turned professional coach about 8 years back. So that's all about me. Okay. So now what do I do? Okay, I just talked about who am I. Now what do I do in my profession as a business coach? I help SMEs to become more profitable. I help businesses who are loss-making and debt-ridden to turn around to profits. Interesting, right? Because I think most of you are here for that. So I'm a mentor. I work with startups to, so that the startups in the initial stages itself, they are helped to have the right strategy and planning and so on and so forth, because many startups don't have it. Okay. And this is something which I love, like when we are talking about debt is like a strangled hand. So everybody is looking for freedom from debt. So that's what we are going to work on today. But before that, let's start with a positive note about getting freedom from debt. I don't know how many of you have read Richard Bach, one of the authors whom I really love. And this Jonathan Livingston Seagull is something which is very close to my heart. It's a very small fable, like it's not something to do with business, but it's something to do with how you look at yourself, how you achieve your goals, and what is that you want to do in the society, so on and so forth. Like, it's just about a seagull. A seagull is probably something which we don't happen to see if we don't live in the seashore. And seagull is something which is also not regarded big, because seagull is considered one of the very poor creatures. So that book, when you read, you will understand how a very insignificant bird like seagull could do something great in life. So this is one of the quotes which I always used to refer a lot. We are not born in flesh, but a perfect idea of freedom. See what he says. he calls us an idea. A human being, any life for that matter, is an idea and limited by nothing. That's most important. It's a freedom should not be limited. Anything should not be limited. No, we are going to look at what kind of freedom and unlimited power that we are going to be into. Okay, before we go further into the program webinar, I just would like to give some small guidelines or some tips on how it's going to be. This is going to be an interactive program, and there is, if I'm good, just because I'm the facilitator, it doesn't mean that you all have to agree with me. You have all the rights to disagree with me and discuss with me, because there might be a lot of things which I may learn from you. Okay, so for the benefit, because the number is usually huge, usually the participants are muted, and whoever would like to be willing, they can unmute themselves and speak. And it's going to be an interactive program. So, you know, like most of the times we'll be interacting through chat box. So which will really help us, you know, for me to get the feedback, whether, you know, we are on the same page, because there are certain things which what I'm going to talk about may not be known to many people who are in business, because I had not known it, you know, like at least 15, 20 years back. A lot of things which I had not known, which I have learned over a period of time. So one thing is, my Guruji used to tell me something very important. You know, like, he used to actually teach us for free. He's my spiritual guru. He used to talk about three things. One is about punctuality. The other one is about regularity. The third is about sincerity. So I just expect the 100% participation and sincerity in this program, so that all of us will benefit out of this. Thank you. And I would like to give a small disclaimer here. Kindly, since we are going to talk about debt, we are going to talk about money, we are going to talk about profit, it doesn't mean I'm a finance professional. Please remember, I've been a business owner for 30 plus years, and I have 40 plus years of experience. So I'm a business coach who is specializing on the subject of business. And we are going to talk more about small businesses and the challenges of debt that the small businesses are facing, right? So let's now get on to the subject, business in hand. It's about a business debt. We are not going to talk about personal debt here at all, because I know, I mean, the post-corona has put a lot of families upside down, and many professions, you know, have been having a lot of challenges. But we are not going to talk about personal debt. We are going to talk about purely business. So this is mostly targeted at you know, to benefit business owners and the would-be business owners possible. Okay, so we are going to talk about how to make a business debt-free if it is already in debt, or even if the business is not in debt, it can still become a debt-free business. Before that, we have to first of all understand what is debt all about, because debt is a word which is less spoken in our country, and much more than that, many people have different understanding about debt. So in this program, there is going to be a context. Debt has got a lot of meanings. I'm going to explain the context in which this program is, this webinar is going to be handled, right? So burn your business debt, and we are going to talk about business debt. Are we all ready? Yes, friends. Great. So there are a lot of terms which are very closely related to debt, you know, bad debt. And in accounting parley, a liability is also called debt. A loan is also a debt. A borrowing is also a debt. Interesting. Now, how are we going to differentiate the word debt which we are going to use in this program is what is going to matter to us, right? Now, bad debt is something which a payment which we are not able to receive. A receivable which we are not able to receive for two reasons. Number one, the debtor, the person who has to pay us, is not able to pay us. It is his inability to pay. So beyond a particular point, we have decided that we will not be able to collect it from him. There are some cases where the cost of collecting that amount would be more than the value of the debt itself. Like, say suppose we have supplied for about 10 lakh, 28,500. The customer has made the payment of 10 lakhs. But for collecting that 28,500 rupees, the kind of travel that we have to make, so on and so forth, sometimes we may even give up. So that's also to be considered a bad debt. Some companies treat it as a discount, whatever. And again, it depends on how the accountants are going to manage it. Liability is something which we have to pay to anybody, which could include your salaries, your EB bills, your telephone bills. Because as a software company, I know my telephone bills are much, much, much higher when compared to all other expenses. The taxes, and whatever purchases we have made, all those things. And loans are usually considered to be for a specific period of time, and it has got a clarity in terms of what is the repayment value and period. So that is what is the usually loan is treated as. See, you can closely observe, I am using mostly, usually. There are certain things because an accountant's version of all these terminologies may vary from a businessman's terminology. And borrowals usually are very short term, which are taken from somebody very close or for some reason. Okay. So now, why does a business borrow money? Because it all starts with borrowal. Why do they take a loan? Why do they borrow? I mean, all these terminologies we can use. So businesses can borrow for purposes of expansion or diversification. Because businesses, the purpose of business is to make profits and to make more profits. When we have to make more profits, we have to grow. And for growth, there could be two ways of growing. One is growing in the same vertical, or diversifying either in the same vertical or associated vertical, or even into a different vertical. Okay, bringing in new products, adding new products, which could be our own product, or we can go for a white labeling, or we can go for some kind of agencies. Adding new territories, new divisions, new venture. And interestingly, today, technology is evolving like mad. When I've been traveling with technology for the last 40 years almost, I would say. 35 years, close to that. Right from my first beginning, because I had been into computer hardware, software, I had been into other areas where technologies were involved quite a lot. And I have seen the kind of technology growth, which is enormous. It is always that, you have to keep pace with the technology. And because of the technology, the market changes, the offerings change, the customers' demand change, customers' perception change. And these changes are there to stay, they are imminent, it cannot be avoided. So because to meet those changes, the businesses may have to change their business model, change their products, and so on and so forth. Because of that also they can borrow, right? Now, there are some occasions where the planning is wrong, where the overheads actually, there are certain projects. In fact, I did a project report for one of my clients where they have been importing machines for a few crores, and for them to bring the machine here and set up the machine, for them to start the production, the day one is going to be after about 8 months of the first investment that they are going to take. So sometimes, these kind of projects where, the time lag is going to be there for them to break even. There are certain projects where they may take 5 years, 10 years, depending on the kind of investment that they are going to make. So where the overheads could be higher, which is possibly not estimated properly, planned well. And in small businesses, this is a big challenge I see. People do siphon out personal funds, because most of the times what happens when they see small successes, the business owners, they actually start overestimating themselves. Complacency seeps in. During the time, their lifestyle changes, and because of that, they start siphoning out for their personal purposes. Sometimes due to demand from the families, probably marriage in the family, somebody is not well, overestimated purchases in terms of house and so on and so forth, could also be reasons in small businesses. and poor performance of the team. That's something which usually is not expected, not planned. Because whenever a planning is done by every business owner, we always look at the most ideal situations. We don't understand what are the challenges that we do face, during the course of the business, which is one of the main reasons why the performance of the team, because the emotions really play a game in team building. The team, there is one more interesting thing which I observe with business owners is most of the small business owners, they are usually the best people in their company, which I call a big blunder, because if a business has to grow, then there has to be specialists in every subject in that business, because the business owner cannot be a specialist in all the areas. A business owner is a generalist. Okay, he's supposed to know the basics of all the subjects, but he doesn't have to be the best person. And bad pricing policy, because some companies I observe that don't even know what is the costing of that. And sometimes they have to compete with the market where they don't know how to bring down the pricing also. Of course, friends, this is something which happens in few companies. When I'm just talking about all the reasons, so this could be one of the reasons. Not that all reasons have to be there in every business. Okay. Now the other challenges, which because of all these things, what happens? The cash flow is poor. We are talking about why businesses borrow. I'm just going back to the title. Why businesses borrow? Why businesses take loan? Why businesses are not able to pay the liabilities which they have to pay? There is a poor cash flow. The poor cash flow comes because there is not enough sale, or the sales are not generating that kind of profits. Either could be the reason. Okay, when the pricing policy is wrong, or when we want to compete with the market, competitively pricing, and like we are looking at volumes, building volumes at lower profits, and we are not able to achieve that volume, whatever be the reason. So profits are low, not enough sales, change in business environment, which we just discussed. Either it could be due to technology, or due to government policies, or due to various reasons, external factors. Business environment can change. And competitors, like sometimes the small businesses could be doing well, and big players coming to the market, they start losing it there. And otherwise, when these smaller companies are facing competition from other smaller companies also, where there is a price war, that is also one of the reasons. Or these businesses could be possibly not offering great differentiators when compared to other products. That also could be one of the reasons. Overtrading is something which I have seen phenomenally in small industries, small businesses. I'm talking about small businesses, means it could be anywhere up to 50 crores or 60 crores or something crores. Like that's the kind of size I'm talking about. Overtrading, I don't know how many of you know about overtrading. Overtrading is something, like where we actually do business beyond our means. The company doesn't have the kind of reserves, the company doesn't have the kind of cash flow, but still, because we are having opportunities to probably sometimes the capabilities may be there, but there will not be enough cash. So we start trading more than what we can chew, and not understanding the customers. We probably can go in for a bad credit policy, not studying the customer's credit worthiness is one of the reasons. In fact, there are few reasons in this where few of my businesses have failed also. I have done overtrading, I have had bad credit policy, I have had change in business environment, and I have also had in one of my businesses not enough sales. All these reasons I have personally been, either for me personally or for my clients, where we had to turn around, go for a different strategy and policy and so on and so forth. Okay. Okay, bad debt, we just were speaking about it, so I think we don't have to speak much about bad debt again. So there are other, we were talking about specific things. The major reasons, there are 2 or 3 reasons which we have to closely go for is failure in expansion plan is something which many small businesses get into debt. Okay, Debt is something we will go for a deeper meaning of it in the next slides. And borrowing for wrong reasons. Sometimes these small businesses are when they are doing well, they are tempted to borrow when a banker or a financial institution is offering them something. They think that, yes, now I am going to get more money. If I get more money, I will grow. So when that money is not well utilized, when it is spent wrongly, when it is borrowed for reasons which are not worthy of business, then the business is getting debt. Okay? So mostly it's about blindness. People just don't know. They are not aware. Either they are not aware or they are blind about avoiding risk, mitigating losses. And many business people don't have the right business approval, which they say, wrong business management, wrong credit, wrong business not being done in the right way. So they don't have the right business approval. So these are all the main reasons why businesses get into debt. Okay, now when we talk about debt, we have to be clear about something. Debt is a liability which a business is unable to pay back on time. As promised, they are not able to pay back and they are not in a position to pay even at that point of the time. That is what is called as debt. I think now we are coming to having a better understanding of debt and why businesses get into debt. Right? Right now, I mean, I think Nilima, you can also ask me, if there are any clarifications you need or any understanding you would like to have. Because for me, monologue is something I'm not used to. I'm always used to, working with interactions with participants.
Yeah, risk avoidance. You can actually give some examples of how people have been blind about risk avoidance. All these three things, loss mitigation and business acumen. Business acumen, more or less, everybody understands. But again, you can give some stories.
I actually, in my program, I talk about risk big time. In fact, 1/4 of my program is usually meant for risk avoidance. But in this, I am deliberately avoiding it because if I remember, you had always been telling me not to offer a lot of knowledge in this. Okay. So I will be deliberately avoiding. But for you, I will give you an understanding whether we are going to use this in the material or not is immaterial. Okay, I'll just tell you in short form how I talk about risk avoidance.
Yeah.
See, primarily there is something which is very close to my heart. I have not spoken in this program at all. I have deliberately avoided it because I have decided to give very limited knowledge and to escalate the pain point of the participants. That's what I am trying to do. You can give me a validation on that.
Yeah.
See, risk in business is something very interesting. Every business wants to grow. The purpose of a business is to make profit, and to make profit, a business has to grow. And every businessman is ambitious. There is no doubt about it. Had he not been ambitious, he would have even started his business. Once they start a business, so they always look for, and the growth comes from where? When a business has to grow, the business has to start looking for opportunities. When the business is going to look for opportunities, there are two ways of looking at opportunities. One is whether that opportunity is for this particular business or the opportunity is available for which they have to work. That means they don't have the kind of resources or the capabilities or the strength right now to handle the opportunity. But they can probably put in effort to reach that opportunity which can grow the company either technically or in terms of volumes or in terms of the market visibility, whatever. Anything could be the opportunity. So when the business wants to grow, they have to take an opportunity. But opportunities are always loaded with risk. Now, this is the area where businesses really find it difficult to become profitable. Because I always used to mention that growth is painful. When the opportunity is seen by a business to see that they grow, they see limited risk. They are not able to associate or qualify or understand the risk associated with the opportunity. Again, what is risk? Risk is very broad. Can you tell me, what do you think about when I say risk, what comes to your mind?
Risk is like losing money and some unforeseen incidences like theft or say all these things which one doesn't have control over.
Okay. So most of the times when businesses talk about risk, they talk about only money. What is the kind of money that I'm going to lose if I am going to take up this particular opportunity or a project or a particular assignment? Now, it could apply for both products, services, and everything. Okay. Now, in my opinion, a business has got a lot of important components besides money. One is time. The other one is effort. The third thing is their image, which is probably associated with that brand or whatever. And more than anything, the kind of, mental work that someone has to do for this. Many people may ask, in bigger companies, it doesn't happen so. I would like to differ with them in toto. Whatever be the size of the company, it is the ultimate business owner who takes the decision. Maybe there could be one or two people who are going to influence the entire decision. Even if it's going to be because I have worked for a company which is today 16,000 crore. I had worked for Lupin and I had been head of South India. So, and I had also been in Indochem as a business head for South India, where I was totally responsible for profitability. Even as an employee, I have seen, and as a business owner, I have seen that the understanding of the kind of decision making. Many people think that bigger companies, the manager level decisions are taken. There are always limitations when it comes to the strategy, when it comes to the policy, when it comes to product introduction, when it comes to growth. All the decisions are taken in the board. Even if there are going to be 12 people in the board, the decision is ultimately taken by the top man, who is probably going to be guided by the other people. So all the honors of the risk mitigation or understanding of risk, of course guided by his team, is done by the business owner. So the image and the kind of pressure that he goes through, we have seen with Malaya, we have seen with so many people. Okay, I just thought, I'm sorry for dropping your name, but this is, you can delete this from the record. So what I'm saying is, this is the kind of decisions which are taken by business owners, and business owners are responsible, whatever be the size. Though we are talking about small business, even in big businesses, this is the kind of risk which is associated with the opportunity. Now, how to mitigate or avoid the risk? For avoiding something or mitigating something, there is a very simple solution. The Q solution, which I call as qualifying. You have to qualify the opportunity, whether it is for you, whether it is an opportunity which will be able to handle by this particular organization. The other thing is, what are all the risks in terms of time, effort, money, and the kind of emotion, the pressure, and the whatever resources are going to be put into that? What is the kind of impact it's going to make when the business or when the opportunity is not successfully giving a successful result? When the risk is taken, there could be two results. Either there is going to be a positive result or there is going to be a negative result. When there is going to be a positive result, great. Everybody says kudos, everybody says cheers, everybody enjoys, everybody celebrates. But what happens when the business is facing the negative impact of the business. Then starts the game of pointing fingers, finding fault with people who went wrong. So they always want a scapegoat for that, and it happens to be so in every business that it is either the business owner or the CEO or the top guy who is the scapegoat. Correct? So this is the most important aspect in business, because if I'm sure you will be able to appreciate today that if I'm going to talk about this, this is part of the solution that we are offering right now. Are you able to see that? Hello?
Yes, 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 yes.
So that's the reason why I have not spoken a lot about risk avoidance in this program, which I actually do this whatever I spoke to you in the last 10 minutes. Actually, it's a half a day session or sometimes even a 1 day session depending on the size. If it's a 5-day program, it is a 1 day session. If it's going to be a 1 day session, it's going to be, out of 4 sessions, 1 session I will have. I spend so much time for making people understand what is the, qualification which has to be done at these levels, at the level of opportunity and at the level of risk. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Okay, I'm sorry, I did make a mistake of using Tamil here. Fine. This is all about freedom. Okay. We are talking about something called debt. For me, debt takes away your freedom. In any business, a business which is in debt, either the business or the business owner will not be able to function with complete freedom. The very purpose of starting a business for a business owner is to be free, to be on his own, to take his own decisions. The moment he is in debt, all that freedom is totally lost. So here we are talking about 2 areas. One, a freedom which is lost, and a freedom which is still available with us, which is not supposed to be lost. So freedom is not just about regaining what is lost, but it's also not losing what we already have. Of course, I used to have a lot of my personal quotes coming into programs, but today I think I haven't had many, only few of the quotes of mine. These are all my personal quotes, okay? And I'm quoting one of the greatest poets of the world, I would call it that. There is a poet called Thiruvalluvar. I don't know if you've heard of him. There used to be a 7-word poetry. I mean, you call it poetry or you call it an advisory, where he had 1,330 of them talking about every part of our life. Okay. Here he talks about, I will just say it in Tamil and then I will explain you in English also. He talks about the mindset of an individual. Like, I don't know, have you seen Lotus? Lotus and Lily?
Yes, yes, yes. Both of them.
Can you tell me what is the length of the trunk of a lotus?
About 5-6 meters or something.
Great. There is something which is very interesting. The height of the trunk of a lotus or any lotus, lily or this kind of, watery flowers, they are not decided by the plant themselves. Okay. You can always observe they don't get immersed in the water.
Yes.
As the water level raises, the flower always floats exactly at the water level.
Yeah.
Now you are able to visualize that, right?
Yes, yes.
So this is what it is. The height of a person, an individual, is decided by the height of his thoughts.
Yeah.
You now connect these two. So that's the thing which, this is something which I love to quote this. Okay, and we would like to have one more caution in this. Theoretically, it's possible to revive all the businesses which are debt-ridden. I get challenged. Every business is possible to be debt-ridden. I mean, debt-ridden companies can be revived. Only challenge is sometimes the time, effort, and money needed for revival may produce less than desired results, so we give up. So that's one of the main reasons. Okay, if somebody is bent up on work at whatever it be the cost, time, effort, money, and emotion, I'm ready to put in everything. I think there is no business which cannot be required. But in many cases, they are given up because the viability and the kind of effort that are needed may not be required for that, or it may not be worth. Okay. Now, what time is it? I mean, I'm just trying to understand. 7:78. Great.
Yeah.
During difficult times, what happens? So this is something which we need to understand. What do the business owners do during difficult times? Right? Business owners live with the hope things will improve. Because for them, they always have the feeling, see, for me, yes, I have failed now, but I had been a success before this. And I had seen success. I know how to reach there. So I will put all my efforts, I will put all my knowledge, experience into this. That is one way of looking at it. The other way is, one day things will improve. So that is one kind of approach which I have seen with business owners who are in difficult times. It not necessarily only when they are in debt, even when their business is not growing or when they are not doing well, when the market is not great, kind of. Okay, and they firefight. Many a time, what happens is they are desperate. They just do everything in their power to do firefighting and keep the problem. They look at short term. The firefighting mostly happens in short term only, and these people look at how they are going to solve the temporary problem now. So that is what happens with many business owners, and because of that, they lose focus in business. What they are supposed to do is to do business. That is what is the job of a business owner. But they do miss the focus in their business because they have been living with hope and they have been firefighting most of the times. Very, very few people do take corrective actions. That's the most unfortunate scenario. That's because either people are not mentally prepared or they don't know what is business all about. So these are the two major challenges which I find with many business owners. Having moved with many of them and having been in business myself, it took about something close to, I would say, 15 years of my time, my business experience to understand what is business for me in total. And during business time, what happens? What are the challenges which are faced by business owners? So let's see. The business owners, they have few challenges. I will start with money because my business is all about money. There is a loss of revenue because there is a very poor performance by the sales team. We'll go to in detail as to why it happens. There is increased burden in terms of interest, penalties, and today, thanks to GST, every company, every small business which is in trouble is paying penalty. And today, income tax also has introduced penalty. And banks, if you are not paying the liability in time, the loan in time, you pay penalty. So most of these businesses which are in trouble, they are already burdened with debt, they are already burdened with interest. But now what happens, because they are unable to pay on time, they are actually paying more in terms of interest and penalty. Penal interest and penalties are a lot which they are paying. And of course, the cash flow is very poor because the sales is not there. We will go into the reasons why sales is not happening. Because there is a poor performance, poor cash flow, and more expense in terms of interest and penal interest, they are having reduced profits. Okay, this is on the finance side. When we are going to look at what is going to happen, sorry, I just hold it for a minute. I just put it in a pause. I think I made a mistake of not charging my